holiday. Hi everyone, welcome back to RC Pi on holiday. Not quite the perfect setup, not quite the perfect lighting. I'm going to use a head torch down there to just light things up a bit more, but we'll do what we can. So I've brought two trucks with me on holiday. I've brought the Michigan and I've brought the new HPI Venture Wayfinder. This hopefully is going to get its first trail run, and the Michigan is hopefully going to get its first run on leaf springs. So yeah, that's the main thing that's happened to the Michigan so far. Is I've put the leaf spring kit on. I still need to put some shocks on there, some dampers. So those should be arriving today, hopefully, two different types for me to try. So I will do a separate video about that, about the leaf spring conversion. But the one thing today with the Michigan that I do want to talk about is this, which is the ISDT ESC90, which is brand new. I got that in the post yesterday. As far as I know, it's only been out for a few weeks, or somehow I've completely missed it, but I didn't know it existed until a few days ago when I was looking for a new speed controller for the Michigan. So I've got an ESC90 in my, what do I call it, an FTX Outback Tracker or an RGT Rescuer. I've got the ESC90 in that. I'm quite happy with it. I think it's a good unit. So this is just a slightly higher rated one, but I was interested whether this has got any new functions at all, if there's anything more than a higher amperage. It's fully programmable. You do this, you don't use a programming card like you do for hobby wings and the like. With this, it's Bluetooth compatible, so you have the app on your phone and you just do it all through that, which is pretty cool. Slightly disappointingly, I'm sure I looked at the picture and it had plugs already on this, but it hasn't. It's all bare cable, so I'll have to do a bit of soldering. But there's the unit. It's quite a nice little unit. Grey. The ESC90 is black. This is grey on top to differentiate it. You've got a separate power button which plugs in with a normal servo plug and a few other bits and bobs there. So I'm going to get that soldered up. We'll have a look at how that is to set up and see what it's like running later. But the main reason for having that is that the 1040 that comes in the Michigan is rubbish. So let's get that gone and have a bit more control with that. Moving on to HPI. I'm sure you've seen the Venture Wayfinder being unboxed. That was quite a lengthy video. And I had it out on some rocks in the back garden at home, and it performed very well, I have to say. So ready for the trail. I've got some scale stuff on there. I finally found a use for this chain. You know, it's the sort of commonly available chain from AliExpress or eBay or wherever. But every time I've looked at it somewhere, it's been just too shiny and just hasn't looked good. So what I did is I held this over a flame. I just put the hob, turned the hob on and moved that over the flame and basically burnt off the kind of chrome coating that was on there. So it now looks a bit more aged, a bit more weathered, a bit more like a proper chain that's doing a shift outdoors. A few other accessories on there, bike on the back, so it kind of looks ready to trail now. But when I was driving this on the rocks, I had some issues with the servo, and the servo just did not have the power. Now I've spoken to HPI about that, and they assured me that that's not standard, that they'd taken their 2 Wayfinders out for a good trail, about 6 hours of driving, the same day I think it was that I drove this, and they said that they hadn't had any problems at all with the servos, so that's encouraging. But what they have done is they've sent me an upgrade. Now this rather nice looking servo or rather nice looking servo box is a brand new product. It's not hit the shelves yet, so you'll be able to get this in the next couple of weeks, something like that. It's going to be rolled out, but this is the SD25 MGWP, and it's their top of the range servo for this sort of application. Just having a look at the specs, I'm going to be running this because I'm running it through a 1060 in here, the standard speed control. I'm going to be running it on 6 volt. It's a 0.13 second speed on 6 volts, so that's pretty quick, and 22 kilos. Now if that's, as we've talked about a few times, or as I've talked to other people about a few times, you know, you see all these numbers on servos, and sometimes they say 8 kilos, some 20 kilos, some say 45 kilos. But, you know, is it real? Does it really make sense? Until you get these in your car and you start using them properly, you can almost ignore the number. And what you almost always found these days with servos is, if you get a super powerful one, unless you're paying top dollar, if you get a super powerful one, then it's not going to be fast. It's going to be very, very slow. So this one sounds like it's got reasonable power and reasonable speed. So let's have a look inside. We've got a pack of, wow, loads of servo horns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 servo horns in there, and the different little bushes, little collars and screws, and the servo itself. Nice metal case, a metal orange case, or the central bit, plastic top and plastic bottom. Now this is supposed to be waterproof, not water resistant. HPI have been very honest with their servos in the past and said whether things are waterproof and water resistant, and said do not submerge with the water resistant ones. So this is supposed to be waterproof. It looks like a nice unit, all looks very tidy, very clean. So, well, what is there to do but get this fitted in this Wayfinder and see what it's like. So there are going to be 3 new servos in this new range. This one is the top of the range one. This is going to come in at about £35. So what's that going to be? I don't know, $40. But who knows? Check the American sites once these are launched. But about £35 for this one. Then there's the middle of the road, which will be the SD16 MGWP. That's going to come in at about £25, and then the basic one is already released actually, the SD07 WR, and that's going to be £13. So the little update on the ESC90, well, there isn't one, and there's not going to be one, because I got it out to solder the wires on and solder the plugs on, look at the cables. So on the 70 that I got, they were all really nice long cables. It was one of the things I really liked about that speed controller. But here we've got the 2 motor cables, which are different lengths, both reasonably long, but different lengths, so that's a bit stupid. And then the battery cables, the state of those. The red is like twice the length of the black, and the black, well, at that length, it's virtually unusable. So this is getting packed back up, sent back to Amazon today. I can't get a replacement from Amazon because they now say that it's not available. So whether they've run out or whether they've just had so many complaints, I don't know. But I'm going to have to come up with another plan for the Michigan.